Okay, there are a lot of questions about my video on the match, which is the process by which all doctors in the United States find out where they're doing their residency training. So I'm going to go through it. So you can think of a medical residency as your first job out of medical school. It is your first time focusing fully on the specialty that you will do. And during that time, you're supervised by more senior doctors, because you're brand new and stuff. If you're looking of representations for this in the media, think Grey's Anatomy, Scrubs. None of these are actually true to life, and they get a million things wrong, but the main characters, from what I understand, since I've never watched either of those shows, is that they're residents. In some specialties, these are really coveted spots, and there are not enough positions in these residencies as there are people applying for them. So the process is not like a typical job application. The process that you have to go through is called the match. It's run by a body called the National Residency Matching Program, aka NRMP, commonly referred to as the NRMP. I'm kidding, nobody calls it that. Basically, the process starts here when you're in your final year of medical school. You put together a residency application. There's a lot that goes into that application. You can send it to as many residency programs in the country as you like. It's kind of cost prohibitive because every program that you apply to adds cost. Keep in mind, in general, every applicant is going to be geared towards one specialty. So I wanted to do dermatology. I only applied to dermatology residency programs. I've heard of people who apply to more than one specialty. That is something that happens. But usually it's when somebody wants to do something super competitive, like say neurosurgery, and they'll apply to a general surgery residency too, just in case they don't get that first choice of specialty. What happens after that, each of these residency programs has to sort through all of the applications that they got. Sometimes they use special filters to kind of filter out applications, so not every single application gets read. And from all the applications that they got, they need to decide who to offer a residency interview to. The residency interviews are usually in person, and you meet many, many people from the residency program and from the department you'll be working in. The next part of this whole scheme is creating a rank order list. After you've done all of the interviews that you've been offered or that you decided to attend, you have to rank each of those programs in the order that you would want to end up there, based on whatever reasoning you have. Meanwhile, the residency programs do the exact same thing. They create a rank order list of every applicant that they actually interviewed, in order of desirability for them. After those lists are submitted, an algorithm decides which applicants end up in which residencies. That algorithm is kind of a secret, but from what I've heard from the NRMP, it tries to maximize the amount of applicants and programs with choices that are higher up on each of their lists. It's also been said by them that, if there's some sort of stalemate within that, they try to favor what the applicant wants over what the program wants. So that is the matching part. Every March there is a match week. On the Monday of that week, you find out if you matched at all. They don't tell you where. And on the Friday, you find out where you matched for residency. And that's where, the whole envelope opening can happen at your medical school. If you're not on site for that, you also get an email. Now, answering some common questions that I got on that video. What happens if you don't match? Yes, since this is a computer algorithm, and for a lot of the specialties that are involved, it could be really competitive. There are people who do not get matched to a position. On the Monday of match week, they find out that they didn't match, and then they have the opportunity to do this process called the SOAP. Essentially, they're able to find out if there were any residency positions that were also not matched, and they have the option to try to, within that week, apply to those programs. This process was classically called the Scramble, to just give you an idea of what that feels like. As some people were asking why you'd be unhappy with your match results. Obviously, if you're an applicant, it kind of behooves you to take as many interviews as you can for certain specialties. I mean, a lot goes into it. If you're not getting your top choice, you may be moving across the country, moving away from people that you love, ending up somewhere that, maybe you didn't necessarily want to be, but you're going to go to for training. Another interesting question that I got was, what happens if you refuse to go to the program that you match to? If you refuse to fill that position, you get locked out of the match and applying for residency in the US. This is, according to what I remember, but it's a number of years before you could apply again. I've never heard personally of somebody not going to the residency program that was offered to them. All in all, this is a very emotional process, and it can be a career high or it could be a more complicated thing than that.